All right, everybody. Welcome back. Week 3 of the PBL Primetime. I know you thought you were gonna see Brent Lias and your back-to-back champion, but no, Brent's off doing dad stuff. So I said, let's get Johnny on here, New Hampshire's own director of advancement. Johnny,
Yeah.
how are you, buddy?
Oh, we're doing great. It's always nice when the current commissioner brings on the future commissioner. It's good to have a good seamless transition. So, thanks for the opportunity to come on here and get some practice in.
I love that confidence, and I've been looking for a good suitor to continue the podcast after my reign is over, and I might be looking no further than the man we have right here.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
just a quick recap of week 2 had tons of injuries, crazy injuries. Rip in peace, Nick Chubb. I hate literally dropping draft picks. 2 weeks in, I've had 3 so far that have been season ending. Not been great, but still beat Reed and still beat Winston, so I'm still doing something right. The wide receiver core is still hanging on tight. But we'll roll right into week 3, see what we got. So our first matchup, we're going to have Lou versus Ryan. Johnny, what do you think?
So, this one's going to be a pretty good matchup. I think you got some good players on both sides. I think on Ryan's side, Baker's been overperforming. I think Bijan's just going to continue to become a bigger threat in this league. Devontae Smith has been nasty, and I should have drafted Evan Ingram, and I hate the fact that I drafted Dallas Goedert over him. What was I thinking? So, I definitely am going to go with Ryan in this matchup. I think Lou's team is overperforming given everything that has gone on with his team. Um, I think Jared Goff is just criminally underrated in fantasy. I guess he's only projected 17, but I feel like he always goes off for more. Madison projected 16, but that's going to have to go down some. And Puka Nakua can go fuck himself for all I care. So I'm
Yeah,
going Ryan.
yeah. I mean, with obviously Puka is the number 2 wide receiver on the year. Of course, that's just how fantasy football goes. And then it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Cooper Cup and Puka whenever they're both healthy and out there on the field. I honestly think that everybody's going to cease to exist, and they'll both get 20 targets a game. So Lou might have a
Yeah.
strategy moving forward with his wide receivers.
Yeah.
Ryan's got a couple of big questionable guys on his side. Derrick Henry just popped up with a little toe issue. I have, as a Tajay Spears owner, I would be okay if Derrick Henry sat the week. Then I'd have a
True.
good B2 there with Spears. So curious to see what happens with Henry and Waddle on Ryan's side. Of course, Ryan went with the heralded zero QB strategy, which has been working out perfectly for him so far. He and I are the only undefeated
Yeah.
team thus far through 2 weeks. So I think I'm going to go ahead and jump on there with Ryan as well. So we'll both be picking up on Ryan this week, and we'll see who's still the undefeated team after this week.
Yeah. That's a
Next,
good point. Two zero QB teams going against each other just so happen to be two of our lowest projected scores. But
that's true.
side
Yeah,
side note,
and
side note.
Stafford and Mayfield have been actually, I think Baker more than anything has been exceeding expectations. We'll see how long that lasts before,
Yeah.
we get back to the old Baker, the crazy Baker, but
Yep.
still doing great so
We'll
far.
see. Hopefully not. Monday night's gonna be a big test.
That's true. That's very true. Next up, we'll get Reed and Los, big and little. What do you think, John?
So Reed, I think, came into this season with one of the best drafts. So him being 0-2, the same record as me,
The man
is
he was roster baiting for months.
yeah. I mean, he's got a great team from top to bottom when you look at the names, but I think there's just been a few guys underperforming. But I think for Reed, I think this is the week that his team really breaks out. I think he finally is putting Najee Harris to rest, which is a good idea.
Mark.
And I think the combination of Tyreek and Devontae is a pretty nasty combo.
Yeah,
Tyreek is number one ranked wide receiver, which might come as a surprise to some, but I think a lot of people really expected him to have that number one potential. So I definitely have Reed in this one. I need Carlos to lose some games because I need some need a little room there at the bottom of the division. I can't be Sacco. Anything but Sacco.
need a little cushion.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good matchup this week. Just I think Herbert's going to have a really good game on Reed's side. Gabe the Babe is in there. So that means Gabe Davis is either going to go for 5 points or 40 points. We'll see which one ends up on that side. I do very much agree that Najee Harris has to, be put in timeout for a little bit on Reed's side before he actually starts. I honest to God think Jalen Warren just looks like a better running back at this point. It's just more explosive.
Yep.
Um,
Better pass
and
catcher.
and and I mean, the longer they hang on to Najee, the tougher it's going to be for them to kind of dig out of the hole as an NFL team.
Yeah.
And I think Reed's kind of sensing that same thing. Los, the Eckler thing is kind of killing him. That's a huge loss, and they're still unsure when he's actually going to be able to make it back. But he does have a pretty big Monday night presence. He's got Brown, Mixon, and Godwin going on Monday night, which if those guys can, if he's down in a hole, those are three guys that can actually make it up pretty easily for him, just depending on how big the hole is.
Yep.
But
one big play
yeah,
changes everything.
exactly. But with that being said, I do have Reed getting off the schneid this week as well.
Yeah.
So we're both going with Reed on this one. That good draft has to account for something at some point, and I think it's gonna match up with him this week.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good drafts finally paying off week 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be a theme.
All right, next one up, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Jonathan Agnello versus Brent Lias, the man you're replacing this evening.
Oh yeah.
What are your
So
thoughts?
so I know Brent's going with the zero defense strategy. It's pretty bold. But I think that's just going to be an excuse. He's going to say, "Oh, I don't have a defense," and he's not going to have a defense because I'm going to outscore him probably 250 to 75 this week. I got the matchups all across the board. I got some great matchups.
Huge.
I think this is one of the softest weeks for my team. Definitely, season has not gone off the way I wanted to so far. Deeply in regret about my decision to draft Deshaun Watson with the 4th round pick. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking,
Looking tough.
but yeah. But other than that, I think I got some good matchups, and um, Brent's team still got some room to grow. Josh Kelly was a great pickup on his part, but I just don't ever see anybody outside of Eckler performing in the run game in that offense. So we'll see what happens with Gibbs. Fields has got to turn it around at some point, you think, or they just got to let him cook and run for 150 yards a game again. So, but with all that being said, I am gonna take myself in this game just because I've got the better matchups across the board, and yeah, what other reason do I need
Yeah.
besides that?
No farming. No karma
Yep,
farming here, right? It's just
yep,
all confidence. Yeah, I think, when I look at your team, obviously there's a lot of talent there. Patrick Mahomes, again, anybody who gets a 28 to 30 point projection each week is going to do some damage either way.
yep,
I think Jacobs is going to have a huge week against Pittsburgh's defense. I mean, that's the number 32 ranked defense. I mean, just going to run all over him. That's it. He had negative yards last week. I
yeah,
think we're going to pop off one of those classic, last year Jacobs games that got him to where he was as number one running back in the league.
yep,
I looking at your team, you might have caught the worst injury strays. With Nick Chubb going down, Watson's job gets tougher. With Aaron Rodgers going down, Wilson's job gets tougher, something like that. So,
for
a
sure.
lot of talent there, but maybe just not as much potential as they would have had previously. Um,
Same thing with Mahomes.
exactly.
The lack of talent on the outside is definitely showing.
Yeah, exactly. And Brent's side, of course, the field situation is not how he imagined it.
No.
Um, Gibbs, you can imagine, should see a lot more work this week with no Monty being back, maybe a couple of weeks out there, but who knows what the Lions coaching staff is actually thinking about that. But he looks like an Alvin Kamara clone when he's running the ball. When I watch the games, I mean, he just
Yep.
looks really good when he's running the football. So I don't
Dangerous.
give him as much of a workload as he can handle. Uh,
Hmm.
he's got a couple of guys who were hot there last week with Collins and London, but again, it just depends on what their situations is, game scripts for the Texans and the Falcons to see what they do, because obviously the Falcons want to run the ball 50 times a game. So I think Brent's gonna continue to struggle in this week. He got a good one off last week against Hooley, but I am gonna go with you to get off that schneid, get to that 1-2,
Yeah.
fighting your way out of that Sacco talk, because you just never.
Hell yeah. Just trying to be in that, between 4 and 6. That I'll settle.
Yeah, like I always say in this league, it's not even always about winning. It's just not being the Sacco. So win
Amen.
between 9, you'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But if I do get taco, just so everyone knows, I'm tanking for the pancakes.
of course, yeah. No.
Yes.
Would you choose IHOP or Waffle House? What would you go with?
Definitely IHOP. I think I'm not trying to spend a whole day there. Give me like 4 hours and 20 pancakes, and I'll be done.
Like it's easier too, and you have less of less risk of getting stabbed by somebody or an
Yeah,
employee house. So like who knows?
right. Probably lower chance of getting hit by a chair.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah,
All right, so we're both on Team John this week. I like it.
yeah,
All right, next one up, the good old hater bowl. Uh,
yeah.
First Winston. The memes and the shit talking will be flying this week. I'm excited. What do you think?
So I think this is going to be a better game than the uh, projections might show. Um, I'm going to pick uh, Santi here. I don't have any logical reasons for that. They're all personal because Winston's just the ultimate hater, and I gotta just pick Santi purely out of spite, and I'm
He
not afraid to admit that.
he thrives on it. Winston thrives on
Yes,
paying attention. Um,
he's good at it.
Most of the reason why I just gif or like most of his his comments, just don't give him the satisfaction. If you try to hate back or if you try to reply in a way to defend yourself, he'll just continue to go. So um, I think Joe Burrow is a huge thing on Santi's side. I think that makes or breaks him and Chase at the same time. So he'd have to fill in.
True.
Cam Howell is who we grabbed off the waivers. Obviously not the Burrow guy, not the Burrow standard. But that does quite, downgrade Chase quite a bit as well if Burrow can't go this week. So there's been some kind of conflicting reports on what's going on with him at practice. But
Yeah,
Winston's side, I think CMC, obviously with Saquon going down, CMC can still carry the load there for his team. I think Pitts is kind of in that Najee Harris realm for Winston at this point. He might just have to sit him down, put him in the timeout, see if he actually does anything.
yep.
Uh, this is how I felt all last year. So now,
I know.
I think did you get was
And yeah, that's how I felt the second half of the year.
yeah, no, the Pitts Andrews thing. I think that's what we went with. He did get
Yeah,
which of course I got Kareem Hunt this morning, just kind of at a pure speculation, and we'll see how that backfield shakes out. They are kind of rolling with Ford in the media as the guy, but hopefully Hunt can start eating into that workload and they can kind of do a tandem thing like they normally did. But for no reason unknown, I will go with Winston.
yeah. I will say it's a win. It's a win-win for me either way because I'm feeling pretty good about my own game. So I think as long as I get to be one of two with either of these jerks who gave me a C, I'll be good.
There you go. There you go. Honestly, I don't even remember what their draft grades were. I watched it once whenever I went to, put it up on the YouTube, and that was about it. Again,
Yeah,
to give the haters too much satisfaction.
yeah, yeah,
They'll have a good game regardless. And again, I'm more so just, excited for the content that they're going to throw in the chat.
yeah.
Last but not least, of course, the very last matchup will come to our game of the week. We have myself and, of course, Hooli, your former Preakness, former Epi Preakness combo. We're back at it again. What do you think, John?
So this is definitely game of the week. I've got very close matchups. I think one of the big factors going into this week is going to be the injury to Amon-Ra St. Brown. The guy is a beast. When you think about Amon-Ra St. Brown, there's a difference between pain and injuries. I feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown is someone that he goes for punishment. He can deal with pain, but I feel like he's dealing with injury right now. So we'll see if he can put on one of his classic PPR God games. Anthony Richardson doesn't need to use his head to run for 2 touchdowns, so I don't think the concussion will hold him back too much this week. But I gotta go with Hooley in this matchup. I think he might have some better matchups. I think Jacksonville is going to eat versus Houston, and you're going to see big games from Lawrence and ETN, and then of course the Allen Diggs combo. I think can always pop off. Mike Evans has been great this year with Johnny Manziel Jr., Baker Mayfield. Great connection there. So I'm in a very close game, definitely game of the week. I'm gonna pick Hooley in the narrow victory.
I respect it, and I kind of appreciate it. Last time you picked Julio over me, I think you picked him back to back over me at some point. Now, maybe I can't think about what happened last year going into the playoffs, but the last time you picked him,
Yeah.
I got the W, so maybe
Yep.
that's the thing. I do agree. The St. Brown and the Anthony Richardson thing. Richardson didn't practice today, so that's a tough look. That's why I picked up Money Minshew.
Yep.
Uh, him in if AR can't go, but I would love AR to go. Again, 17 points on 2 drives before he got knocked out of the game. He was going to put a 40 burger on or
Yeah.
50 Winston regardless that day. He just got knocked out.
Yep.
Uh, but I love the wide receiver matchups I have this week. Most weeks, Jefferson and Keenan Allen are versus some terrible defenses. Juicy matchups, as Lou would say.
Yep.
But Hooley's got some good stuff there. Of course, the Houston matchup is going to be huge for him with Lawrence and ETN. I think ETN's going to go for one of those 152 tutty days. And of course, you never know what's going to happen with Mike Evans on Monday night as well. Philly's defense is good. Of course, they have Darius Slay. I'm not sure if
Yep.
Slay. I think Slay will be on the outside there with Evans. Godwin kind of works through the slot sometimes, so bigger game for Godwin most likely. I would hope or imagine, but Evans could always pop off a 70-yard touchdown pass and kind of fuck things up. But
Yep. Boomer
uh,
bust.
yeah, exactly. But I'll continue. I'll go with myself. I just got to go with it. Jumping up to 3-0, and I'll see Ryan still up there in the standings. Maybe the more that I think about it, I know Ryan always brings up the single standing situation. Maybe that'll come back up for debate in the future. That way, Ryan and I would be the 1-2 seeds as opposed to Ryan being or me being the 1 seed, and then Ryan being like the 3 seed or something like that. So
Yeah.
maybe be something. Ryan, whenever you're listening to this, drop it in the chat if you're thinking again. But
Little conference realignment, maybe.
yeah. No, I love the set in the North and South, but it does make sense from time to time. I think our conference is a little more top heavy.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows?
It's just based on statistics,
Champ,
championships.
not a
Yeah.
champion in one bracket, so who knows?
Yeah.
But good, yeah. So that's a good split there. So pretty much what our splits are: Santi and Winston and myself and Hooley. Those games for John and me. Johnny, you're leaving us soon, bub. I don't know if I'm
Yep.
going to be back from Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I'm at right now, working
Yep.
before I head out. But I hope I am. Got any last words for the Pod Boys, at least on the way out for this one?
Oh, first round QB is the way to go,
Patty
Uh,
Mahomes,
yeah, definitely don't regret any of that. Definitely don't.
great decisions.
Yeah. No, but yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be on the pod this week. And Brent, we'll see you next time. You will be greatly missed on this week's episode. And I just can't wait to get roasted by Winston in the chat. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, he's gonna be coming after you.
Big time.
Yeah, Brent had the audacity to do dad things.
Yep.
Why? That child isn't more important than the PBL Primetime podcast.
Yeah. Doesn't he know what's at stake here?
Yeah, we'll have a takeover podcast next week. I believe I think it's Reed. I might have to double check that, but I think it's Reed taking over with whoever he wants to jump on as a guest. But until then, enjoy week 3. Gonna have some fun matchups, a lot of high scoring games. Week 1 was a little lackluster. Week 2 was high scoring. I think we're gonna get a little bit more of that again in week 3. So excited again just to watch some football. We got a good game going on tomorrow night too. I think what we got San Francisco and the Giants. So a lot of fantasy players in those. But until next time, enjoy it, guys. From your back-to-back commissioner and Jonathan. Have a good night. We'll check you guys.
Peace.
Peace.